On a February evening in 2022, a father named Jared Bridegan dropped his 9-year-old twins off after spending the evening with them and started the short drive home. Minutes later, he was dead, shot in the middle of a quiet residential street after stopping for a tire that had been deliberately placed in his path. His 2-year-old daughter was strapped into her car seat in the back when the bullets hit the SUV. It would take investigators nearly a year to make their first arrest, and more than 4 years to get this case anywhere near a jury. 4 years later, the two people accused of orchestrating that killing are running out of road themselves. This week, Jared Bridegan's ex-wife, Shanna Gardner, and her husband, Mario Fernandez,
11 a.m.
There was one last issue that we had taken up with the court previously regarding an agreement between the parties as to the testimony of a minor witness, minor victim, BB. The parties have come to an agreement. We're going to put it in writing and file it with the court. And the agreement is that the state is not going to call BB as a witness at trial, so we do not need to have any litigation on competency issues. The defense has agreed to the admission of a video from the scene of the minor child and to waive their confrontation and legal objections to testimony by 2 civilian witnesses as to her statements on scene. I'm going to put that in writing as a stipulation, and the parties will sign and we'll file with the court.
Okay.
We're back in a Jacksonville courtroom, and for the first time in a long while, their trial date isn't some distant point on the calendar. It's weeks away. Here's exactly what happened in court and why the next few weeks could determine how this case finally plays out. Jared Bridegan was 33, a senior manager at Microsoft, living in St. Augustine, Florida, with his second wife, Kirsten, and their 2 young daughters. He also shared 9-year-old twins with his ex-wife, Shanna Gardner, from an earlier marriage. On February 16, 2022, Bridegan drove to Gardner's home in Jacksonville Beach to drop the twins off. His toddler was in the back seat of his SUV for the ride home. Driving through a quiet neighborhood called The Sanctuary, he came across a tire sitting in the middle of the road. When he got out to move it, he was ambushed and shot. He died almost instantly. 1 bullet passed within inches of his 2-year-old in the back seat. For nearly a year, the case went cold. Then, in January 2023, police arrested a man named Henry Tenon and charged him as the gunman. The link investigators found between Tenon and the Bridegan family wasn't obvious at first. Tenon had simply been renting a house from Mario Fernandez for years, and by his own account barely knew him. 2 months after Tenon's arrest, police arrested Fernandez himself, Gardner's now estranged husband, accusing him of hiring his own tenant to carry out the killing. By August, Gardner had been indicted too, accused of being the one who set the entire plot in motion. Investigators say the motive goes back to a custody dispute. A friend told police that Gardner was tired of sharing custody of her twins with Bridegan, and that Fernandez, who had a military background, told her he could take care of it. Prosecutors have said the plan wasn't spontaneous either. They allege it included a practice run along Bridegan's usual road home before the actual shooting. Gardner has publicly denied any involvement, telling a local reporter shortly after the murder that despite their history, Bridegan was still her children's father. Tenon eventually pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and agreed to testify against Gardner and Fernandez. That matters because he's since signaled he wants to walk that plea back, a wrinkle that's still hanging over the entire case. Meanwhile, Bridegan's widow, Kirsten, has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against all 3 and has channeled some of her grief into a foundation set up in her late husband's name. Prosecutors originally planned to seek the death penalty against both Gardner and Fernandez. In November 2025, with the support of Bridegan's widow and family, that was taken off the table. Instead of one joint trial, the 2 will now be tried separately in front of separate juries. Fernandez first, then Gardner a few weeks behind him.
On behalf of the state, we're here on Shanna Gardner, number 9 on the court's calendar, and Mario Fernandez, number 4 on the court's calendar.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
My name is Jesse Dreiser. I represent Mr. Fernandez, who's present and sitting at council table, along with Ms. Day, Mr. Hill, and Frank Tassoni, who is appearing via Zoom.
All right, thank you. Good morning.
And Your Honor, for the record, next of kin is present via Zoom as well.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Patrick Crody for Shanna Gardner, who's present for the court. Also, Ms. Nelson.
Attorneys told the judge that depositions, the formal sworn interviews lawyers rely on to prepare for trial, are almost done. A few remain, including one that same afternoon and another the following Friday. In case both sides couldn't agree on how that afternoon's deposition should go, the judge set aside.
I just need time to edit. I was in first appearance. I've been in trial.
That's fine, Your Honor. For the court's information, since our last court date, we have taken a number of depositions. We have depositions, the last remaining ones set for this afternoon. We have depositions for next Friday, the 17th, for Ms. Gardner's listed witnesses. And I think that should conclude the discovery depositions, absent maybe one or two remaining witnesses.
Okay. Does the defense agree?
I think within small numbers or entirely, yes. Meaning there could be a couple that I'm just not thinking of, but we are nearing the end, and it may be that we're done.
Okay.
Backup hearing time for Monday, July 13th at 11 a.m. Fernandez's final pretrial hearing. The last real checkpoint before jury selection begins was locked in for July 27th. Small details, but they're
will need in order to try the case. So
The only thing that I would ask is out of abundance of caution that if the state and I cannot come to an agreement regarding this afternoon's deposition, that we get some hearing time on Monday or a to-be set, whatever the court's preference is.
I'm going to do it on Monday. I do have 2 jury selections, but I believe one of my colleagues is going to select for the second one. And so I'm going to move my jury selection to 1:30. And then my thought is I can handle these motions that relate mainly to discovery earlier rather than later. So I would handle them at 11 a.m.
All right, so you want defense counsel here at 11?
Correct.
Yes, ma'am. We'll be here. So this upcoming Monday at 11.
Right.
And with
July
that-
13th at 11 a.m. hearing a motion.
And if this gets resolved, if we could just email your judicial assistant, and then you could just give us another past date that you see fit. I do think there's at least a 50-50 shot that we resolve this by tomorrow.
Okay. If you don't need the time, that's fine. I do want to have a final pretrial. I did not set that initially. I'm a little bit hesitant to do it the week before like I normally do. Do you want 2 weeks before? Like the 27th?
Yes.
Yes, and then whatever.
And this is for Mr. Fernandez's case. So his final pretrial will be held July 27th.
a more meaningful development. A deal was struck over one of the case's youngest witnesses. Court records refer to her only by initials BB to protect her identity. A young witness who was present the night Bridegan was killed. Rather than have her take the stand in front of the people accused of killing her father, prosecutors and the defense agreed she won't testify at trial at all. Jurors will instead see video recorded at the scene, along with testimony from 2 adult witnesses describing what she said that night. Both sides agreed to waive further objections to that arrangement, which also resolves a thornier legal question the court would otherwise have had to sort out.
And what are you thinking in terms of motions in limine? In terms of like time in between those 2 weeks? I know there's a deadline set because I saw it on my calendar for when they're due, but when were you thinking we would actually hear them?
So you all take priority over anything. That's what the priority order is. So if you need me to handle them, you just let me know and you advance on my calendar. So I'm depending on the parties because you all know the substance of the motions to kind of let me know how much time you need. All you have to do is let me know that and I will advance you on my calendar.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll get with Mr. Dreiser and see what they're going to file, what we're going to file, what we agree upon, and what needs court time.
Okay.
Whether a child that young is even legally competent to testify in the first place, a second young witness.
I heard it's been sent to me. I did read the materials by the defense on the subpoena request, and then I haven't read the state's response, so I will do that.
And then with the agreement related to the minor child BB, I believe it would be appropriate for the court to deny our pending motion as moot related to excluding her testimony.
Okay. Could you do a form order for that, Mr. Hathaway?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Identified only as AB, will testify, but remotely over Zoom as a defense witness in Fernandez's case. Both sides agreed to the setup as long as her guardians consent. Still, the judge made clear.
We also agreed, we're coming to agreements as to certain witnesses that may appear via Zoom. We have agreed that AB, which initials of another minor that we expect to testify in this case will appear via Zoom.
Will appear?
Will appear via Zoom.
She's a listed witness for the defense. Mr. Dreiser intends to call her. Mr. Carodi has accepted subpoena service from both the state and Mr. Dreiser for AB with the understanding that her guardians would consent to her testimony in Mr. Fernandez's case via Zoom. So we'll assign a stipulation from both state and defense as to Zoom testimony, and Mr. Carodi has accepted those subpoenas.
Okay, so if the stipulation, I want you all to go over, there's a 5th DCA case, I believe, I can send it to you, that you go over that particular case with your clients, Mr. Dreiser with Mr. Fernandez, and the state. I'm going to send the copy to you. So this, there's a requirement. If there's an agreement, it's not that big of a deal. However, prior to Zoom testimony, there has to be confirmation that Mr. Fernandez can see the witness can see Mr. Fernandez. That is a main issue, and I don't think that it should necessarily be an issue because of 407 and how it's going to be set up, but all those things have to be confirmed for the record, and then it specifically addressed the confrontation